Welcome on my YouTube channel Lumina Vitae, what means in Latin light of life. I'm Kiyeshua and in this video I'm going to talk about resistance reactions to a pure person and holding your place in emotional dynamics. First, I will explain what I mean by a pure person. By a pure person, I mean someone who comes across as sincere, open, and genuine. This includes the quality of being honest, vulnerable, loving, understanding, non-playful and uncomplicated. This does not mean that such a person cannot make mistakes or that they are worth more than another person. It is about an attitude towards life. How someone approaches life. That person is not trying to project anything, but is simply direct, sincere, or non-manipulative. This is a beautiful quality, and hearing it like this, you would expect that such a person makes contact with people easily and that people would appreciate this person with these qualities. That is indeed the case, but unfortunately there is also a downside to it. Let me explain. These beautiful qualities can be somewhat triggering in other people because they contrast with someone's own protective layers. Whoosh! What did you say? Because they contrast with someone's own protective layers. Yeah. The contrast happens automatically, without intention. Such a pure person very quickly receives preemptive reactions like, yes, but you do that too, and no one is better than somebody else. These reactions from people are referred to as projection and ego or armor. Note, personally, I do not like calling this ego, as the ego literally means the self, and it is not helpful to identify yourself with the armor and blockages, because that is precisely what you want to get rid of. But that is another topic. Many people have built up a kind of psychological armor. This involves beliefs, control, and defenses, and also can manifest in cynicism and humor. This is often referred to as the ego, in the sense of self-protection. When they meet someone who seems to have less of that armor, It can feel uncomfortable. Something is then unintentionally mirrored. The reactions, yes, but you do that too, or no one is better, are a way to restore equality. No one is above me, while that equality never actually went away, but was merely in the other person's mind. Such reactions can also be a form of self protection. I don't have to look at myself. People feel judged, so they say that you think you are better. They sense their own closed of nature and react to your openness. Yes, but you do that too, and no one is better than anyone else. Often do not come because that person is elevating themselves, but because the other person feels uncomfortable, feels the need to defend themselves, or unconsciously touches something within themselves. A person without armor can make other people feel that they are being seen, true, or are inauthentic themselves, even if that is not the intention. What you then see is often an interplay between your openness and the other person's defense mechanism. Their reaction usually says more about their inner world than about your intention. In short, even without intent, someone who is simply sincere and unfiltered can evoke a defensive reaction in others, not because they are making claims, but because that presence exposes something in the other person. An interesting and subtle point. Someone's very being can therefore be confronting regardless of what is explicitly said. This often happens when someone wears few masks. This can unconsciously mirror something in others that they would rather not see or feel. Sometimes, when you call someone out on this, they hide behind the idea that this is merely a correction of idealization. After all, no one is 100% perfect or flawless. However, that is an easy defense, as you notice that it is actually a matter of avoidance, because the subject doesn't even come up and you aren't concerned with it at all. People attribute something to you that is actually about themselves. But how do you handle this without adapting or shutting yourself off? How can you remain inwardly strong without taking responsibility for the reactions of others while remaining open without losing yourself? How can you stay true to yourself while simultaneously being respectful towards the other person? It is important not to close yourself, and clarity, boundaries, and gentleness are key in this regard. Distinguish what is yours and what is not. Not if every reaction lies with you. Remain internally anchored in your intentions. If you know it was sincere, you can anchor this for yourself with thoughts such as, my intention was pure and their reaction is valid but is not entirely mine. This prevents you from automatically people pleasing or adapting yourself to reduce tension. Remain calmly present without defending yourself. Acknowledge the other person's emotion without adopting their interpretation. When someone reacts defensively, there is a strong tendency to explain or justify. But this often increases resistance. Instead, you can slow down, speak more calmly, and use fewer words. Gentle, open questions help bring the other person back to themselves, such as, what makes this affect you so deeply? Or, what exactly touches you in this? Meanwhile, guard your boundaries. Remain open, but don't take everything personally. If someone continues to project or attack, you may calmly and factually set limits. For example, I am open to discussion, but not in this way. Or, I want to look into this, but I won't take everything on myself. Sometimes a situation calls for more directness. In that case, you can clearly state what you see without blame, but clearly, I don't think this is right. Or stop. I don't think this is appropriate. Afterward, further discussion may be possible. Just talk about it together. Clarity may be necessary to break patterns. Sometimes someone needs to be brought to a halt to make them think. After all, projection is unpleasant and unacceptable. Ultimately, it is about recognizing your boundaries. Sometimes the universe sends such people your way until you indicate this far and no further. It is always important to consider the other person's intentions in this regard. Is the projection conscious or unconscious? It is important to remain fair and to act in love. Nevertheless, confrontation is sometimes necessary for transformation and awareness. And then I have the reflective question: in what areas could you stand up for yourself even better? Thank you for watching. I see you next video.